Hello and Salam Malaysia Madani. Welcome to On the Table. We are broadcasting on RTM Click and MyTV's Berita RTM channel 123, which is also live streaming on YouTube. I'm your host, Mona Priya. Malaysia is facing a critical skills gap in the digital workforce, with 78% of employers actively seeking digitally skilled workers over the next 5 years. However, nearly half of Malaysians are facing barriers to accessing affordable digital skills training. Now, this situation highlights a significant challenge for both employers and the workforce. Now, to discuss this with us is PayNet Akar Senior Director Jun Maria Tan Abdullah. Ms. Jun, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Ms. Jun, now, digital training involves giving individuals the essential skills and knowledge which is required to effectively use digital technologies. Can you please explain what is essential to meet future demands when it comes to digital talent?
Yes, digital talent, we talk about, the focus is on the talent, right? So when we talk about digital skill, of course, we talk about all the advanced technologies, the speed in actually learning them and acquiring them and then implementing them, right? But more than just that, right? We're not just talking about technology skills like cloud computing or AI, right, and data science. But beyond that, I think it is also very important to understand the industry. What is the context of the industry? So, for example, I'm in the financial services industry. So, you know, students will also need to understand what the context is. And another thing, to me, the most important thing of all is that, you know, the students will also need to learn how to actually conduct themselves, right, in terms of how do they demonstrate the right values when they go to work in the industry. So you don't just impart the skills in terms of technical skills, but it is also the human focus learning. I think that's also very important.
Okay. On the note of the technical skills, now last year PayNet introduced a program called the Akar program. This is an innovative initiative designed to meet Malaysia's pressing demand for workers with digital skills. Can you tell us a bit about what the program is and which sector actually benefits from this?
Okay, so last year what we launched was program Akar powered by AWS Restart. So we went into collaboration with AWS Malaysia and on a program that AWS has, which is AWS Restart, and the focus is on cloud computing. So that particular program that we launched last year has these three components. Number one, that's the cloud computing, and then the context, that's the fundamentals in digital payment. So students learn about money, where money comes in, until it's to its current form, and the other program that I emphasized earlier on is really the values-driven enrichment. And in all these three, we hope that the students will be able to be much more relevant to the industry. So the program is not an initiative for learning alone. It is more than just a learning program. So what it really does, after the program, after the learning, we actually find the pathways for the student in terms of channeling them into the industry for internship opportunities as well as employment opportunities.
Would that be based on their skills or their interest? How does it work?
Yeah, definitely it's based on the skills as well as the interest. I mean, there's no point of actually getting students into going into certain things that they're not passionate about.
That's right.
Yes, definitely.
Now, you mentioned cloud computing. Why cloud computing?
Well, you know, there has been a lot of requirement, it continuously, you know, in the market. It's a demand. There is a high demand for cloud computing in the market, especially in the financial services industry. So we find that it is very important for us to go into collaboration with our technology partner to be able to churn out more of such talent into the market.
Okay, could you elaborate a little bit about the Akar program? Like what kind of skills training do the students receive? Is it a one-time program? Like is it a week, a month? How long is it?
Right. So first thing, I think it is important to recognize that program Akar is not just a learning initiative. Okay, it has this value value chain where we also channel them or pipeline them into the industry for internship opportunities as well as employment, right? But firstly, of course, we would like the students to, acquire the right skills required in the industry. So in this case, really the digital skill. So we want to focus on things like cloud computing, AI, data sciences, cybersecurity, and what's not, right? And have these students to be ready to be augmented in terms of their knowledge while they're still in the education ecosystem, so that when they go to the industry, they're much more prepared.
Right. Now, challenges like the cost of education, the urban-rural divide, this is always discussed, especially inclusivity.
Yes.
What do you see as the main barriers to developing this digital talent, and how is PayNet helping to address these, especially in underserved communities?
Very, very, very important question, actually. I love that. So let me start by saying that, I am actually quite happy with the recent years in terms of the improvement of internet coverage. So we're doing great in there, although there's still a lot of, space for us to continue to do so, right? Yeah. So cost is not the only thing, actually. In this case, from our perspective, access is most important. So access, of course, internet access is one thing, but access to relevant content is also very important. So relevant content is really how we curate a program that really the market needs. I mean, there's no point of creating access for students to learn something and yet they're not able to really join the workforce because of the mismatch. So, yeah.
Why is there a mismatch? Is this not already being offered and addressed at the tertiary institutions today?
Yeah, yes, definitely. A very good point. I think it has everything to do with speed. Right? Okay. Nowadays, speed is the currency. Yeah. There's no more money, no more ringgit Malaysia, speed. So the speed in acquiring, the right knowledge, the right skills, right? Because technology advances very fast.
That's right. And what you learn in year one may have already changed and evolved by the time you get
Right. So, some educationists say, the day that you graduate is the day where all that you have learned in the university went obsolete.
That's right.
So the idea here is how can then we leverage this collaboration strategy with the industry, right? So that whatever that the students learn while in the school or in the tertiary education continue to be relevant. Yeah, and I think it is very important that we reach out to academia, to the universities to offer this, and not let just the academia to do this alone, because indeed it takes a whole village to raise a child.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. So when it comes to the AKAR program, is that a vision for you to go into other tertiary institutions in the country, to go into the rural communities as well? Okay. Is that something that you're looking at maybe in the next 3 to 5 years? What's the
Yes, well, even for now, right? When we launched this program, of course, we had our collaboration with partner universities because we wanted a controlled environment to really look whether the program, the content is relevant or not, right? But now we're ready to actually go nationwide. So while we're speaking, the program with AWS Restart, it is now going out to universities across the country. Okay. So university students across the country can actually apply to join the program. Some of the program, most of the program actually are actually online, right?
Oh,
only a very small, maybe 10% segment, is actually done in person. And then we will create that career fair at the same time, when they go and meet with the workforce. So yes, the idea here is it's for everyone. We want to be inclusive in whatever that we can offer to all the students across the nation.
Okay, is it limited to students?
Yes, for now, all our participants are actually students from the school or from the universities, because we think that there are already some very good programs for those who are already out of the universities, right? Okay. But we think that, and that's why the name is AKAR. We're going down to the root of it all. So we think that, it is important for our students to actually acquire such skills now. I'm not so sure whether you heard about it. I think, was it this week or last week? I heard that China, right, has actually mandated that AI is to be learned by students, right, in the K-12 space.
That's right.
In schools. Yeah. So it is very important for students, to acquire what digital skills that they have, and other supporting elements like, the values-driven character development, right? And also the context, financial fundamentals, being taught early in school. So it's really about having this journey of parallel learning, hand in hand, together with academia. Yeah.
Wonderful. Ms. June, we're going to go for a short break.
Sure.
And we'll continue this very interesting conversation in a bit.
Right.
And we...
So leadership by example is something very important for me. So all our staff, if I want to instruct my staff to do something, I got to make sure I will be able to do it. And in case they are not able to do it, I can show them how to do it so that they can repeat, they can emulate what I have done so that they can do it better in the future.
Welcome back to On the Table. We are speaking to Ms. June Maria Tan Abdullah, Senior Director of PayNet ACAR. Now, Ms. June, you have an extensive knowledge and background in human capital development, human resources. Now, I want to ask you, the digital world is evolving really, really fast. And keeping up with new technologies requires continuous learning and adaptation. This is what we were speaking before the break. Now, which areas should we be focusing on? Is it artificial intelligence? Are there other areas that we should be looking at simultaneously?
Okay, interesting question. I think when it comes to technology, right, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, or cloud computing, all those is given. You have got to learn.
Right.
You have got to learn them.
No two ways about it.
Yes, no two ways about it, right? But I think what separates us from just learning about tool is to learn about context, right? Where are we passionate about? Where do we want to actually get more talents to go in? Is it in the E&E industry or in financial services industry? So learning that context is also very important.
Okay.
But I think, the most important of all is really how do we impart that values in our kids, right? In terms of the self-driven learning philosophy.
Okay.
So, self-driven learning is really about you creating that curiosity. Yeah, if you are lacking of curiosity, right, whatever tools that you learn in terms of technology is going to be a waste.
That's right.
Right, because you have the tool, but you don't have the curiosity to actually use that tool to come up with a solution for real world problems.
How do you do that, though? How do you instill or stimulate that kind of interest?
This is what people say when we talk about integrity, for example, right? Integrity cannot be taught, but it can be caught, right? So mentoring is very important, right? And creating the learning experience is very important. So, for example, in our program for values-driven enrichment, right, we use real scenarios that we face in the industry, and we curate that scenarios in role plays. Okay, so there will be role playing, right? People will be talking about the scenario, and then we ask the question, what went wrong in that scenario?
Okay.
Let's take, for example, the scenario about one company that is facing a huge cybersecurity attack. So then we talk about what went wrong, right? And people can say, well, maybe because there wasn't enough vigilant culture in that organization, and therefore employees were actually passing the password everywhere, or there's not enough learning for the students that when they go to the workplace, they're not sensitive enough that they need to be very careful in whatever that they do, not just to protect the business, but to protect themselves, right? So it's really through role playing, mentorship, learning from the experts from the industry, and that's how PayNet ACAR is value adding. It is not merely just a training program.
Okay, and should digital training then be tailored to meet the needs of different groups, young adults, mid-career professionals, individuals who perhaps need reskilling? Is that something that you feel is very important?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when we talk about ACAR, right, we give them the fundamental skills.
Sure.
Yeah, and we hope that from this learning, we will then be able to curate programs for those who are already working in the ecosystem. And this kind of programs is not really, it doesn't mean that it is a learning program, a training program that you have to go and sit in for 2 days and whatsoever not. We feel that it is most important for us to actually get experts, from everywhere to share their experience and have very important discourse. Conversations around what had happened and what did we learn from it and how can we then come together collaboratively to actually come up with a solution to solve that problem.
Okay.
So it's very much experiential learning approach for the the skilled workers as well.
So when individuals have digital skills, we're talking about moving into other areas which are just opening up when it comes to IT and artificial intelligence and all of that. Do you think we are fast enough with the changes that are coming with artificial intelligence?
Well, nobody is fast enough. Right? Nobody is fast enough, and that's where the concern is, right? So we need to work collaboratively. Like I said just now, there's no way about it. You can't just, think
whole
that
of society approach.
Yeah, everybody. You can just say, this is teaching. Only the schools does that. No, we have to come together and do this because speed is very important, right? And when you have that right digital skill, and also the right character and attributes, as an expert, as a person that can actually provide solutions to problems that even people can't see yet, right? And that's where your value add is. And that's where, core values like aspirational, curiosity, and that grit comes in, for the kind of talent that we want to lead the nation in the future.
Yes, that's right. Now, with the increasing availability of digital financial services today, there comes a greater necessity for cybersecurity. What steps can we take when it comes to cybersecurity? How can we be more resilient?
Yeah, well, of course, a lot of people say, what kind of technology can we put in, right? I think the way that we should look at it is that we ourselves, must be, right, the first line of defense. So, as an example, in the house, right? I don't have to go and think about, can somebody come and teach me how to actually keep the robbers away from my house? We don't, right?
Yeah.
Right? We know that at night you have to keep the alarm on. You've got to be very vigilant when people come and knock on your door. You must make sure that you know the person before you open the door. Same thing in any organization. Technology is there, right? But how is it that you can protect the organization by having that vigilant mindset, that curiosity crept in again, right?
I think it's at the forefront of anyone's mind, actually. Is that something that we need to create more awareness about?
Yes, definitely. And organizations are actually doing quite well, because I've seen many organizations who's doing this. They train their employees, they create a lot of scenarios, they do a lot of reinforcement. Reinforcement here can be, continuous coaching, and sometimes some organization also introduce some kind of consequence management. If, for example...
What is consequence management?
Well, this is my HR creeping in again. Consequence management is where after really continuous learning and training and creating that awareness about being vigilant, and yet you still can't grasp that, then you will probably get some kind of penalty for that, right? Because we really need everybody to be on their toes to protect the organization and protect ourselves, right? So that's what consequence management is.
Okay. And when it comes to our education system today, and I understand that you do some guest lecturing as well, how do you think educational institutions need to move forward when it comes to catching up with the technology?
I would say provide that linkage with the industry as fast as possible and as tight as possible.
Okay.
Because by the time that you get anybody in an education organization to want to write and teach certain technology might have actually gone obsoleted, right?
That's right.
So if you get that very close relationship with the industry, and I also would like to appeal, for industry to also reach out, right? And augment the learning for the students as well as the teaching staff in an organization to understand what's already happening in the market and what's going to happen in the market in the future.
Okay.
I think that's the way that we should go about things moving forward.
Is this something that you see worldwide or in the region? What are your thoughts about how ASEAN is moving forward when it comes to coping and adapting and catching up with these advances?
Yeah, okay. So working with the industry is not it's not new,
Yeah.
right? Many organizations have started to do that many years ago.
From various
actually,
industries. Yeah.
But I think what the difference is now is speed. You have got to speed up that, that collaboration initiatives, right? And be really tight with them in terms of understanding what's required in a market in order for the students to actually get, the learning immediately.
Okay.
So this is where I say industry come in, work together with academia so that we can impart what kind of knowledge, what kind of skills that's needed in the market, right? And don't wait until they graduate. It's just too late.
Yeah, but that also means that syllabuses will probably need to be updated even more frequently, not every 5 years or every 3 years, isn't it?
Well, I will leave that to the university's concern, but I think that you don't really have to do that immediately. As long as you have that linkages with the industry, I think that is most important, because a lot of universities working with us now, they continue with the syllabus, and some of them are actually quite advanced, right? But I think what's missing is context. So when we come in and we provide them with problem statements in, let's say, their hackathon initiatives.
Yes, there are many going on right now.
So we provide them with that context, right, the right or the real problem statements from the industry.
Yes.
And then we provide them with mentorship from the industry. This is where they learn. Yeah. So you don't really have to wait for syllabus to be changed, to be updated, then, to acquire the right approvals. No, you can immediately work with the industry now, actually.
Which means speed is of utmost importance.
Yes.
So why, with the digital financial services which are out there, I think it becomes even more imperative that young people are exposed to digital and media literacy, how to use digital tools responsibly. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, definitely, isn't it? It's tied to the question about cybersecurity just now, right?
Yes.
Using it responsibly has everything to do with, for example, how we actually use AI ethically.
Yeah.
AI is a very useful technology.
That's right.
But if you use it for the wrong purpose, bad purpose, right, then it's bad. Yeah. It's neutral. Technology is neutral. So these actually point back to what I said just now, human-focused skills.
Okay.
So if technology falls in the hand of a bad actor, the outcome is catastrophic.
Correct.
But if it falls in the hand of those who really use it to innovate and come up with really good solutions to help, the world, cancer research, for example, then it's definitely going to be important, right? So nowadays, kids, and I really want to bring this point up actually before I forget it. Nowadays, kids, when they're born, they already have a gadget in their hand, right?
I hope not, but...
So during my time, it took us about, 16 to 18 years to actually get to the workforce. So you have got to really study for 16 to 18 years before you go there. But nowadays, I feel that there is an opportunity because, kids nowadays, they are they're exposed to gadgets very early.
Very early.
So learning is actually in the hands of the kid, right? However, what do they learn? That's very important, right? So there is an opportunity there. We can actually speed up students' learning or broaden or augment their learning through technology, but at the same time, impart them with the right values so that they don't actually use that gadget to learn the wrong thing.
Okay, and where does that responsibility come from? Is it the parents? Is it the teachers? It's the entire community.
It's the entire community, like I said just now, of course it starts at home, right? Your parents. But sometimes we do have to also consider that, there are some kids out there who do not have access to certain home care, okay? And this is where in the school they will need to get that kind of values from the teachers. But like I said earlier on, it takes a whole village. Right? There's no just one person to do that.
Now, we spoke very briefly about inclusivity. And this is one way, I think the program that you run is one way of making sure that people are not left out. What do you think other initiatives that could come in to bridge this gap, to make sure that people are digitally literate, young people especially, from the both urban and rural communities who are perhaps lower on the socio-economic ladder?
So, yeah, we do that, right? We do that. And one of the programs that we have is in collaboration with one of our partner, LibEd Services, and this is with regards to the first digital school in Malaysia called Sekolah Anak Malaysia, or SAM. So what we do, there are two things that we do. Number one, we help to write in the project-based learning, like I said just now, industry linkages, real projects or real experiences from the industry, but the students learn them while they're still in secondary schools.
Right.
So we help them to actually write in financial technology into the project-based learning, in the in-person activities. We help them to actually contextualize the learning, right? So that's one thing. And second thing, we also help to support some of the students from the underserved in terms of scholarship for the school. So, we hope that there will be more and more corporates out there. They will also take this up, support the school and the students who really need those, in terms of scholarship.
Ms. June, thank you so much for your wonderful insights today, and I wish you all the best with your PNET AKAR programs nationwide.
Thank you so much. Really, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all the time that we've got for On the Table this evening. We've been speaking to June Maria Tan Abdullah, Senior Director of PNET AKAR. A repeat of this episode's broadcast can be viewed again at the same time tomorrow and subsequent days on both the RTM Click and MyTV's Berita RTM channel, as well as Berita RTM YouTube channel. Till next Thursday, where we will discuss another topic of interest. I'm Mohana Priya. Thank you for your company.